Yeah.
What really informed the position for EFF to really take this matter to the High Court, rather taking the minister to the High Court?
Well, thank you very much, Chili Boy, for the invitation, and to my colleagues. We really appreciate the opportunity to make input in your important platform. I think the more we simplify these discussions and make them accessible, the better. If you remember, that court case got very busy and we tend to forget essentially where it started, right?
Yeah.
So where it started, and this is important to remember, we were in the Standing Committee on Finance as a parliament. As a EFF, we have two members, the Komisas now and the TG of the EFF, Mpile. And we were processing the fiscal framework that was proposed by the Minister of Finance on the second budget, because the first budget was never tabled.
Yeah.
That meeting just came to a stop. 17 minutes later, the speaker came in and says, no, the cabinet is not ready. When we were processing the fiscal framework, there was a dispute around the procedure. What was the dispute? The Money Bills Amendment Procedure, which is an act that says, Parliament, you can amend what the Minister of Finance tables, but this is how you do it. The dispute there was that the chairperson who was running the meeting did not put to the committee for a vote a clear statement whether we are amending or we are supporting the fiscal framework. That was the key issue. And that's what led to everyone else saying, we are going to go to court. But the contention around that fiscal framework, you're correct, was about a tax increase, particularly on VAT, value-added tax. And the ANC with other parties, they were in support of it, including Action SA. The EFF, DA, and MK were saying they're against the VAT increase. Essentially was being proposed from 15 to 17%, 2 percentage point. Now, one, procedure, but secondly, the increase itself. In that meeting, the EFF immediately said to the chairperson, you are doing this the wrong way. We are going to write to the speaker today because we think that you didn't follow the process. The very same evening, when we got the final report, which now included a statement at the bottom which says the committee accept the proposal by the Minister of Finance on the fiscal framework, right? When we wrote to the speaker, we wrote on two things, not the politics of whether we support or we're against the VAT increase. The procedure was not followed, but equally, she must not allow the report to be tabled before the National Assembly. That was the following day, right? There are other technicalities around it because there was a time issue. You must table the report before the National Assembly 15 days after the budget was tabled. Those are other complicated technical things. But the bottom line is the procedure was not followed. In that House sitting, if you remember correctly, the EFF member who served in the Standing Committee on Finance, Ms. Mauto, she stood up and said, Speaker, don't allow this report to be tabled because the procedure was not followed. At that time, the technicalities around the VAT issues were not there, right? We're just dealing with the procedure. And the DA agreed that, no, the procedure was not followed. Even when the DA said they're going to court, they were not saying they're going to court on the powers of the minister to increase VAT or not, but on the procedure. Then they went to court about a day or two later, and then people said the EFF joined the DA, but in actual fact, the EFF announced in that sitting when the speaker allowed the report to be tabled to say, we're going to take you to court. So had the DA not gone to court, the EFF was still going to go to court on the procedure. Now, the EFF then goes to court on two issues. One, the procedure. But two, there is an argument which senior counsel advocate Nkai Toby make in that submission. The argument is at this point in time, when you look at the Constitution and what it stands for, the decision to then increase VAT from 15 to 17%, given the prevailing economic conditions, it's unjust. That became a new technical submission over and above the procedure, because the procedure was well debated, right? Unfortunately, the minister considered there were other things that were discussed outside the court that led to the court order and the, what you call an agreement, right? But the DA had a different submission to the court. The DA submission is that the minister does not have power to impose taxation because the powers to impose taxation are parliament powers. But the minister was saying, no, I've done this before, and parliament can always come back to this bill and pass it later on. But I want to start the new VAT rate of 17% now, which was going to be the 1st of May, 2025. So the argument had then two things. One, stop the minister from introducing the VAT increase, which was the EFF argument also, but for different reasons, as I said earlier. But also, we need to have a look at these powers that the minister thinks he has to impose taxation, which we don't think he has. Taxation, like all other legislations, must first be accepted by Parliament. And once Parliament has agreed, then the minister can go ahead. That became two key argument about the VAT increase. So that's where this whole case came about. And people forget that there was one procedure, but two, there was the issue of which side of the VAT are you arguing against its introduction on the 1st of May. But what made this case now seemingly pending, so that we cover that ground and we can talk about it